I was trying to think of something. Hey, Daniel, I just have to say thank you so much for being so awesome and just having this amazing male perspective before we start. I will start on a good note today because I have a feeling this whole thing could go many different ways because what we're talking about today, I can just see a lot of sarcasm coming out of Daniel. But before we hopped on and hit record, we had really good heart to heart conversation. And I just have to say, look it, I'm being nice. Thank you so much for all of your feedback on how the male mind works. I love it. Anyways, don't say anything because something sarcastic will come out. So I'm going to just keep talking.
Yep.
Dr. Google will see you now and scare the shit out of you. That's what we're talking about today. So, welcome back to Unfuck Your Mind, where we love a good self diagnosis rabbit hole, said no one mentally. No
Ever.
mentally person that's stable ever said that. So, in today's episode, we're diving into a slippery slope of Googling physical symptoms because what starts as a harmless search for why our eyelid is twitching ends with you picking out your funeral music and whispering goodbye to your houseplants. Just to throw some sarcasm in there, even though this is a heavy kind of
Wait, wait, wait,
like
wait, 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 wait. Do you talk to your houseplants?
when I remember, I do sometimes because it actually helps them. They do respond. Anyways,
They respond
we will,
verbally or
yeah.
okay. Well, maybe maybe you need to Google that because
Should I Google if am I okay?
go ahead. Carry on.
We will unpack when you should actually seek out professional guidance and why your browser history should never be your doctor. Oh my gosh. And how constantly self diagnosing might not just ruin your peace, but it might actually be quietly rewiring your brain into full panic mode. So please remember we are not here, or that we are here to share our personal experiences and perspectives. There's no preaching, no perfect answers, just two humans exploring life's messy, beautiful, and sometimes downright awkward truths. We are not here to tell you how to live your life. We are here to offer support, be real, help you with mindset shifts, and maybe even give you a good laugh. Our goal is to create a space where all ideas are welcome, even the uncomfortable ones, to offer support to those who might feel isolated or unsure about their life adventure. And we do respect everyone's unique journey and ask for the same in return. So let's keep it curious and kind and have some fun. Google, Dr. Google. Have you ever looked up symptoms on WebMD?
Oh yeah.
How'd you feel?
Um,
It gets scary.
I didn't feel like a doctor. I didn't feel like I had anything. I didn't feel like that. Yeah, it was good advice, Mrs.
Well, like, okay, so scientific backing right here. So Googling symptoms equals increased anxiety. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Medical Internet Research found that cyberchondria, which is a real term, causes significant increase in health related anxiety, obsessive symptom checking, and stress related psychological changes. Another study from Harvard Medical School noted that excessive online self diagnosing, listen to this, guys, this is so important. It activates the brain's fear and threat response, increasing cortisol and fueling mental health decline over time. So Googling that stomach ache doesn't help. It tells your brain to panic. It tells your until your body listens.
Yeah,
I
one
don't
one
know.
thing one kind of little tidbit that I'll say on the front end of this is that okay, for instance, here about 2 months ago or so, yeah, 9, 10 weeks ago, something like that, I had pulled a muscle in my back. So just right underneath my shoulder blade, I'd pulled a muscle. I pretty much knew that's what it was. Been there, done that. Um, and I could feel it, especially when I worked the muscle, like, when I was trying to work out and stuff like that, which I had stopped doing that for a few weeks. But anyway, um, but I knew, I was pretty confident that's what the issue was. So I did actually go to Dr. Google and was not necessarily Googling for a diagnosis, but more Googling for some ideas about how to expedite the recovery, if you will. And just little things that you can do to kind of help a pulled muscle and so forth and so on. But yeah, so with all this, I will say that, if you know what's going on, don't, I wouldn't, you know, broad view, I wouldn't go to Google for a diagnosis. I would, don't think that's it.
Well, I think if you can keep an open mind and know that, like, okay, so I keep going back in my mind to when I had my brain surgery. I had a lot of options I had to face. I mean, there's several different surgeries they could have done, so I had to do my research to figure out what I felt was best for me. But oh my gosh, when it got into the depth of, maybe this is a little graphic, but I say this in a joking way, when pulling my brains apart, right? Because literally they pulled my brains apart. The potential side effects for emotions and memory and all that were so dominant in the Google world when I started researching it that I was afraid I was going to come out a different person. So, in a serious situation with something like that, I kind of feel like, as long as you hit it with an open mind and just know that these are possibilities for educational purposes, I think it can be good if you can control that aspect. But I also use it to research things like the hospitals and the doctors. Well, so here's the thing. We'll use this as an example. So, for in my local area, most people will know which hospitals I'm talking about. So, I wanted to know what the success rate for brain surgery or brain trauma, TBIs, was in St. Luke's Medical Center in Milwaukee versus Froedtert in Milwaukee. Well, Froedtert's success rate was really low, and St. Luke's success rate was really high. And I had already been to St. Luke's because when they had to transport me to ICU, I ended up at St. Luke's. That's just where they took me. And that sounds like, okay, you definitely want to go to St. Luke's. But here's the thing, you need to look at all the backstory. Froedtert gets Flight for Life that lands on their roof and gets the worst case scenarios where people have a lower chance of actually even living when they have a TBI. So there's a lot of things that you need to consider and maneuver. St. Luke's doesn't have that. They don't have a helicopter landing on their roof with people that are already on their way out. And when we do this type of research, it's really important to take in all the different types of factors. And sometimes we are not aware of what those factors could be. I did end up having my surgery at St. Luke's, but that's only because the doctors that I ended up with, after doing research and actually talking to people, they were the best doctors that I could have had for the extreme high risk surgery I had. So it turned out to be good, but let me tell you, I learned a lot of scary stuff about the brain and what could have happened.
Well, and I think maybe sometimes that's kind of the it's kind of the tricky part of that, right? Is trying to kind of distinguish between, really piss me off. Camera's gonna be smashed. Anyway, um, real time, folks.
For
Um,
the people that don't know what he's complaining about, when he does that little talk, it's because if he moves the wrong way, his camera goes blurry. And because now
yeah,
we go on YouTube, that's what he's, so for you that are listening, that's what he's like frustrated about. His camera keeps going blurry. So
ranting.
continue.
So yeah, So, but it is kind of distinguishing, kind of between the idea of can you look up information and not be just absolutely terrified, and understanding that, like you said, great way to put this, these are possibilities. They're not probabilities, they're not assurances, they're not guarantees. you know they're possibilities. And if you dig long enough, your last sneeze could be a terminal diagnosis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's just be honest,
So true. It's so true.
because I mean, it just is how it works. Like, you just go down that rabbit hole, and those, in my opinion, those kind of fears are like that snowball effect in essence. The further you roll down that hill, the bigger it gets, and it just
Yeah.
collects a bunch of shit along the way. And next thing you know, and I guess that's one of those things is being careful of understanding yourself. Can I go down this and
Yes.
be like, hey, this is just education, right? For educational purposes, and not, this is my diagnosis, this is my solution. I'm going to start doing this because I know I've got this thing that's seriously wrong with me. Don't do that. Because you you know it's the reason why doctors and things like that run tests when you go into a hospital and so forth, because there's a lot of possibilities why your body can react the same way. Two different people can have the same reaction to an entirely different issue. So, yeah.
I it is really important. You have to know how you work. Because like even for me, like I'm saying like a lot today. I'm catching it. It's bothering me. Either way. Calling myself
Maybe you
out.
should Google that.
What's wrong with me? I keep saying the word like. I should actually Google it and see what comes up. We could share it. When you're talking, maybe I'll do it. I'll see. Either way, I don't go to the medical doctor unless I absolutely have to, because a lot of times they want to prescribe a medication. And though I'm thankful for the medications and I'm not against them, my body tends to reject them with like hives or not breathing, or, I have a lot of serious side effects from them. So when I do take a medication, because I have learned about how I work, I cannot look at the symptoms on the sheet, possible side effects. If I look at the symptoms on the sheet for the medication I have to take, they will happen because my fear will go so high that it's going to happen. So I have learned through the years that what I have to do is when I get the medication, I have to say, I'm thankful for this medication. And I have to say, this medication is going to help my body and I can do this. And then I have to have somebody around that will read the side effects and keep an eye on me. And in the meantime, I have all these positive things going on in my mind about the medication. It doesn't always work, but I do give good efforts. You really have to know who you are and how you work. I can't look stuff up on WebMD. I will die tomorrow. I'm not
Exactly.
kidding.
Exactly.
I'll be like, oh my God, I'm dying. What do I do now?
Well, that's, yeah. I mean, same. I don't. I rarely ever look up anything like that, just because, one, I don't like getting in those weeds. It just annoys me, and I like, if it's something serious, yes, I go to the doctor. Like the whole, now, granted, the whole thing with my back and pulling the muscle, I did go to the doctor. He affirmed that it was a pulled muscle, but I also went for, because of yearly checkup. So, in the process of that, I was like, okay, yearly checkup, things like that. And I'd shared with you guys back when I changed jobs last year that I had recently started having some anxiety attacks, because I mean, I upended a lot of things in my life. Now those have gotten very few and far between now, because at this point I understand the process and what's going on. and learning to just breathe through certain things. Again, why I get a yearly checkup. So I'm not constantly worried about, or am I having a heart attack or uh, again, like just being honest, knowing, especially specifically knowing like hypnosis and doing things like that, knowing how the mind works, I know how to kind of interrupt that pattern in my head of looking for the horrible shit that's going that could absolutely go wrong and just destroy my life. so so knowing that, I know how to kind of just breathe through it, get through it a lot quicker, and just move on with my day. Again, it's been several weeks since I've had one, but I take some of those symptoms that I've had and go to Google and things like this because I did at one point. I did do that once, right? Now again, I did it because I was curious what would come up. Again, I knew it was anxiety. Um, but Googling that, right, was an interesting of all the symptoms, because it was like 1,000 different things it could be. To the to the just absolutely damn near nothing to all the way to you're having heart trouble and all kinds of stuff, right? you know which again I didn't buy into. I was just kind of curious. What one of those things was anxiety attacks and stuff like that. Says some of those symptoms could be that. And again, all that subsided since I've learned how to breathe through it. And they're definitely, like I said, it's been several weeks since the last one. But the point is that you just have to be careful of diving in that rabbit hole. And even with the mental side of things, I kind of went there with anxiety for that. I know we talk about, it's the name of our podcast, and fuck your mind. Yeah. So even with the mental side of things, just because you've had depressive thoughts, now, of course, don't take this as medical advice. I'm not a doctor or a therapist. Just disclaimer. Um, but just because you've had depressive thoughts does not mean that you are absolutely spiraling out of control into depression and that you need to be medicated. Okay, it's life. Sometimes life is an uphill struggle. Sometimes life is just depressing. you know, I mean, shit. Some days it is, man. Some days it's like, good lord, it's all I can do to get my ass out of bed.
It's really though, like how long are you going to stay there?
Exactly, and
And can
sometimes
you
like,
pull yourself out?
yeah, depressive thoughts are just that's just it. They're thoughts. It's not necessarily reality. It's just sometimes it's how the mind works, right? Sometimes depressive thoughts is just processing information to get it out of the body. Me and my oldest daughter, she's a crier like her daddy. Um, and she was talking about how much she cries sometimes. She kind of got on this little bit of kick that I used to be on when I was younger. Thankfully, I've learned. But about how, I don't want to cry in front of people and I don't want to cry this and I'm tired of crying out. I said, no. I said, listen, don't worry about that because literally emotion is energy in motion inside your body. One of the ways that you let your body process that out so it doesn't build up is crying. That's the reason why it's an outward expression. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just got to cry shit out. I mean, I tell her that, but but I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes you just got to cry it out. Sometimes you just got to let that stuff out. Just let it go. Just let it and then be done with it. And that's what I was sharing with her. You can see the likes go on, like, oh, that makes sense. And I think she even said something to that effect. Is yeah, I didn't think about it like that. I said, yeah, sometimes you just gotta. It's just the body processing emotion, so that it's not pent up and becomes a bigger issue than what it really is. But yeah, that's just
I think it's really important to ask yourself questions about whatever symptoms you're having. Like, is this a brand new symptom? Or is this reoccurring? Is it getting worse? Is it getting better? Like, even like with Daniel's example of, the crying, and just because you're having a depressive thought doesn't mean you are depressed. It is part of life. And how long are you going to stay there? Can you pull yourself out? I play with that all the time. I'll I'll kind of be in a lower vibrational mode where I'm kind of feeling heavy. And I'm like, okay, what are my thoughts? What am I thinking? I wonder what happens if I step over here and think about like the goodness and the gratitude and change my perspective. And like maybe sometimes I'll step back into, like, the other day I was saying, oh my gosh, how fun it would be when I was younger. I would just drive my bike up and down every street in Mayville, my hometown. And it was just so fun, up and down the alleys, the main streets, the side streets. And it would just be a normal afternoon in the summer. And it was just like, it felt so good. And I'm like, I wonder what that would feel like if I would do that now as an adult, like kind of reminisce. And I noticed that my whole system went from feeling like heavy and kind of like low vibration to feeling really good in a higher vibration, just because I channeled something that felt good. So no, then that's confirmation there. No, I'm not depressed. I'm just having a depressive moment that I just pulled myself out of. So really examining that. But if you are having those depressive thoughts and they're going on and you're not able to pull yourself out by switching those mindsets, make sure you're finding what works for you. Explore. You need to explore who you are and how you work, and pay attention to the results. And if you can't get out of it and it has been a while, reach out to a friend and talk to them, or, do something like that. And if you need to go to the freaking doctor, go to the doctor.
Little side
But
note, but because I have a great passion about health and fitness, is that there's actually studies on this, that things like running, jogging, and then strength training, lifting weights and stuff like that have actually been shown to reduce depression, anxiety, all these types of things. So sometimes putting a little bit of a physical strain on the body will actually pull the mind out of that low place, if you will.
I'm 100 million% believer in that, because if I go too long without some type of physical activity, my vibration goes down.
Yeah,
And
1,000%.
like I need to go to the gym, or I need to have some type of activity regularly in my life. It's important for me, especially with having like, complex PTSD. Like my body has been so trained my whole life to live in fear, to live in being guarded, to live in protecting myself from the worst case scenario that doesn't exist. So, in order for me to get all of that out of my system, I have to have the physical activity. Otherwise, because that physical activity really brings my vibration high.
When there's a ton of research on this right here, within the medical and psychological field, it, about, again, running right now. Something me and the family's been doing just about every weekend, um, is we'll find like little parks, because of course we live in the mountain areas of Southwest Virginia, and we'll find like parks and places like that that has hiking trails. And we've been doing a lot of hiking over the last several weeks. We started doing it at the end of last year, and of course it got crazy cold here, but throughout the winter. But now it's starting to warm up a little bit more. It's yeah, we've been doing a lot of hiking, and like it's been really good for all six of us. And yeah, we've really been enjoying that. But it's also a way to kind of connect as a family, and you can definitely tell the difference with all of us when we're in the process of doing it, and then also coming back from it. like I'm a big, detail kind of guy. I notice every little thing, but I can definitely see the difference in the mood of all of us as a family. Even when we come off the hike and get back home and everything else, it's just a whole different atmosphere here when we do that. So um, it definitely affects all six of us in very positive ways. So, and that, then especially my two youngest love to collect every rock, branch, and leaf they can find. And so, yeah, we have a box of rocks from all over the place. But I'm not going to discourage them from that, even though it's just a rock, right? But to them, it's more than that. So I mean, okay, take it. Let's
Well, rocks are from the earth and they hold energy, so there
right,
could
and
be
then
something in there's
and there, yeah, there's the, yeah, and they love it. They love doing that. They love the leaves and the rocks and all those kind of things. Especially again, my two youngest ones. And yeah, it's something that, because to them that's memories. I think it's more of something that's almost metaphorical for them, that there's something they actually got to take with them, and that's gonna, that to me is almost like an anchor. It's gonna be something that they're always going to remember throughout their life, and how it made them feel, and that's what I want. So
you could do. You could also allow them to paint some of the rocks.
we have actually,
Have you? Oh,
yeah, we
yay, we're
have
on the
actually
same
let them,
page.
like, yeah, like draw on the rocks and do little things like that. Yeah, they've actually done some of that.
That's awesome. My kids would do that when they were little, and then I would put them out in my flower beds, and some of them are still out there. So rewarding. So, think when you have physical symptoms, it's also important because I know when I'm sleep deprived, my whole body goes into some type of a weird place of a lot of shit. So, are you hydrated enough? A lot of times our body will give us, so like when your body gives you a symptom, so like dehydration, you could get, like cramps. It's your body just saying, I'm not getting what I'm needing. So before, like, as long as the situation that you're experiencing is not really severe, obviously, if you're having really severe chest pains, probably go in and have that checked. Your heart is important. But if it's other things that are fairly new, ask yourself questions like, what message is my body trying to tell me? If you think about it that way, in a message way, like my body's just giving me a message, what does it need? Maybe you need magnesium. I have to drink magnesium drinks once in a while because I'll get leg cramps or arm cramps or whatever. Am I getting enough sleep? Maybe my body's just telling me I need more sleep because I can't function through the day. This is another one I struggle with. Since my brain surgery, I need more sleep and I need more downtime to recover from my day because I've had to learn that this is just how I work now. Um, but yeah, really learning about your body and how it works is so important. Um,
Hmm. Nutrition.
oh
We're gonna hit
yes,
that
that's the other
point.
one. I was like, there was
Well,
another one
that's
I was
kind
going
of,
to talk
yeah, that's kind
about.
of where you're the vein you're already in, is that yes, your nutrition will absolutely either promote a healthy body or absolutely just cause your body to go in all kinds of different stupid
And
directions.
and this goes physically and mentally,
Yes, very much
not
so.
one or the other. It goes for both.
And that's one of those things. Okay, for instance, people's probably going to give me some shit about this, but it's all right. It's fine. You've got your opinion. I've got the truth. Anyway, um,
I thought you only say that to me.
no, but yeah, I thought I'd throw that in there. but here's the thing: like eggs, whole eggs. Got to hit this. I know. I've even got a post created. I'm gonna do a little video I'm gonna do on this because I'm very love this topic. Whole eggs with the yolk. Yes, everybody's so loses their freaking minds over, oh, it's going to cause cholesterol, and it's going to. Okay, so disclaimer: if you are a slug and sit around on your couch and do jack shit all day, then yes, high cholesterol diet may not be beneficial for you. Okay.
That was really nice, Daniel. You
I
really
know.
worded that
I'm trying. I'm trying
like
not to, I wanted you should I was
you worded
thinking,
that like an asshole.
but I was thinking something a lot worse. So that was
Okay, then you
better.
did good.
Then but I've got some kickback on this, and it kind of like it pushes a little bit of buttons. But look, if you're physically active, okay, which you should be, because it promotes heart health, which is the most important muscle in your body. But anyway, um, eggs. The only time cholesterol builds up in your bloodstream is because your blood's not moving very fast. Physical activity, getting like 10,000 plus steps a day, will help with that. 1,000%. Eggs is one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet,
I
especially the
wish I could
yolk.
eat them.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't think Ena can eat eggs very, very much, very often either. Me and her talked about this. She was the
I
same
can't
way. So
eat
I'm like,
them at all. Like it shuts me down. Like boom, I'm shut down and I'm down for the count. Like sad face.
and
Keep going.
so eggs for us normal people, eggs.
Here, you got a couple birds flying through the screen.
Couldn't help myself.
Okay, keep going.
But eggs are they are one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, especially for protein. Your macros, which are protein and fats. Um, Carbs in there, but eggs doesn't really have very little carbs in it. But when it comes to protein and healthy fats, man, eggs are a go-to every morning. Every morning, I have an ounce of cheese mixed in with 5 whole eggs that I scramble, soft scramble, and absolutely kickstarts my day. Sorry, but I'll add a little bit more protein there, like, maybe some ground beef, ground turkey, something like that. Well, actually, I'll put it in the eggs, maybe even steak. Sometimes we have steak the night before. I'll cut it up in little tiny chunks and throw it in there.
He just loves talking about everything I can't
I
eat.
know, I'm sorry as my screen goes blurry, but, but
Karma.
I know, right? But so eggs are extremely nutrient dense, and they're not just the macros, the protein and the fats. They're also micro nutrients, which is vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin B, all kinds of just absolute vitamins, minerals, and eggs are just absolutely promote brain health. Your body, cardiovascular, all kind of and people talk about cholesterol. Yes, I know. However, here's the thing about that, and you can do the research because there's plenty of research on this. If you have a moderate, even lightly physical activity every day, the cholesterol will not affect your body at all. Absolutely not. Because one of the things about the fats that are in eggs is that they are actually the good fats. They promote body health. Okay. And because your body needs fat to regulate hormones and a lot of other things. The biggest thing is hormone levels. Eggs are one of the most nutrient dense foods. I mean, and I say all that because I'm not trying to tell you how to eat. Although, if you're, anyway, I'll say that. But one point. This is a passionate topic. Sorry, but eggs will absolutely kickstart your day. It will feed your body and your brain so many good things to get your day started off right. But so many people don't understand just how much nutrition can play a part in poor mental health, not just physical. Yes, physical, most people know about and will agree. But your poor mental health can definitely, and there's tons of research on this, can
Mhm.
definitely be impacted by your nutrition.
Well, think
And
about, go
go ahead.
ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I
I
was
was
just
pretty
gonna
much done.
say, like years ago, like going way back, I have like no scientific studies because I didn't look anything up. This is to me just common sense of what I look back at history. How did they eat? They raised their own animals. They grew their own food, and they worked. They had to work to survive. Like, and they didn't have the technology that we have now medically to help us. But now our diet is so poor, and the medical field is a blessing, but holy shit what it all takes from us. Like, a lot of people can't even afford to go to the doctor. Okay, so I understand this because I have been there. So you can't afford to go to the doctor, but and now I'm going to sound like a bitch or an asshole, but yet you're eating all this shit food. So if you actually take time to invest in paying attention to what you're eating and how much you're moving, invest in that instead of the doctor. And I'm not saying, like, let's be real here though, because there's this other side where you can exercise every day, you can eat perfectly, but if your mental mindset, if you allow it to go down that rabbit hole, you're still susceptible for a lot of disease, because dis-ease in the body causes disease. So that's why mind, body, spirit are all connected, and they are all so important. And death is going to catch us all at some point, and illness is going to catch us all at some point, whether it's just a common cold or something serious. But are you doing everything you can to prevent it yourself? Because we have this stuff available to us. I mean, how much do you go through the produce section? Like, do you shop in the center aisles of the store, or do you go on the outskirts where all the healthier things are? You know, there are a handful of things in the inside aisles of the stores that are good. He's pointing at me, which means he wants to say something. So I know
No, I'm
you're
just
going to
saying,
get
no,
there,
no,
but
no, no. I'm just saying that's a good point about the inside because they make the shit easily accessible.
right. And like there's the bagged rice. I think, is it like Uncle, I won't say it because we're on a podcast, but I don't want to bash anyone. But I think most bagged rice, if you look on the bottom, it says, and I'm guilty of getting this rice because it's like convenient, and there's not a whole lot of foods that I can actually ingest. So some convenience is nice, but made with, I think it's bioengineered chemicals. Okay, this is bad shit, people. We're eating bioengineered chemicals in our food. These are the things you want to pay attention to. I mean, how is that going to help you physically in the most positive way? How's that going to help you mentally or spiritually, knowing you're putting toxins into your body? And I am guilty to some point, but I also know that compared to our society here in the States, that I do really well with what I put in my body for the most part. So
Well,
it
and
really is all connected.
I'll say this. Okay. You want the easiest way to change your diet because I'm all about simplicity, especially in the, diet, exercise, all of it. That's why I love hypnosis because it streamlines the process. Um, but look at the ingredients list because you mentioned this. Look at the ingredients list of your food. If your food has a paragraph of ingredients in it, then you're eating more than likely, okay, a high probability that you're eating shit food. Okay, because what you really want to look for is single ingredient whole foods. Okay.
Mhm.
You look at the ingredients list of a steak, it says steak. That's it. That's all. you know, or it should be. Or
But there,
hamburger or a banana or whatever.
to be fair, what happened, I mean, this could really trail off, but to be fair, what happens to, because I can't even eat steak. And it's not because I
Right.
believe the meat is bad. It's because what was injected into the meat. So that's where you really need to pay attention to your body and what signals your body is giving you. I had brain fog for so many years and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized, I started just pinpointing all these things, and taking like control of myself. And I realized that it's the chemicals in the meat that my body doesn't like and is rejecting. It's not the actual meat itself. So when I say I don't eat meat, it's because of what's been done to the meat. So
Yeah,
you just
that's
have to
one of
learn
those
your
things.
body.
And that's one of those things that you can, you can get down the definitely, get nuanced in that. Now, I mean, which I'm not opposed to. I will say, starting out though, if you're eating these foods, especially fast foods, junk foods, things like that, just a paragraph of ingredients in it, start moving towards the single ingredient foods. Now, yes, like Jamie said, definitely pay attention to your body, mind, all those kind of things. So, because I understand that, even organic foods is not always organic. That's, been kind of proven, especially in recent years. But we'll go down that rabbit hole either. But we eat so, or let me say it this way: I eat so many eggs. We actually just bought chickens. We bought little chicks here a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Now, um, and now we used to have chickens, raise our own eggs, things like that. But we got more of those because I mean, one, I enjoy doing it, and then two, I love the eggs, and I'm good to my chickens. Always have been good to my chickens. I feed them good quality food. They are. I build a run around the chicken coop, so they do have some free range. And anyway, but I love the idea of that. Right. We also, my father-in-law is also a cow farmer, and sometimes we'll go in with them and actually, when they slaughter a cow, we'll buy a part of it. We'll buy so many 100 pounds of meat, and so forth and so on. And because we know where it's coming from, it's butchered locally and processed locally and all that kind of stuff. So we know what it's fed, we know where it's coming from, all those kind of things. So, but starting out, just starting out with with anything in your, changing your diet, start nailing down just single ingredient foods. Look for
Well, and not
foods
only
that have
that,
those couple ingredients.
just pay attention to how you feel after you eat.
Right.
Pay attention to how you feel before you eat. Like, oh, like, yeah, I'm really hungry, but maybe you're clear-minded, you like have energy and you recognize you're hungry and then you eat your meal. And if you feel brain fog, weighted down, shitty, there's a problem. Because, like, I forget that that's even a thing. Either
Yep.
A, you overate, which is not good for your body, because that's like when you go put gas in your car, you're just going to keep putting gas in your car after it's full. You're just going to keep pushing the nozzle so it's overflowing. It's the same thing. So it's either what you ate or that you ate too much. Looks like now when I eat, it's very rare that I feel heavy and like, oh, I just ate. It's usually, I usually feel better now after I eat because I've learned about myself.
Well, and eat till you're satisfied, not till you're full. Because it
Yeah.
takes your body, it takes your stomach and your brain time to process that information together and get on the same page till you stop eating. You know, yeah, that's one of those things. Eat slowly, consciously, and don't eat till you're full. Just eat till you're satisfied.
Really take that time to like flavor your food. That creates so much satisfaction. So then you're not only satisfying the taste buds, you're satisfying the body, and your body's actually going to feel healthier and happier. And
Well, it's almost like delayed gratification because a lot of times when we think about when we're eating like junk food and stuff, right? We like the taste of it. That usually what drives us to eat more. So if we're sucking that thing down like a Hoover vacuum cleaner, then you know, I mean, really, you know what I'm saying? Flip the
I got
switch and
Hoover
watch them
vacuum
go.
cleaner.
Um,
I couldn't resist.
and if you're doing that, you know, you're not you're not giving your body, even your taste buds time to really enjoy that. Versus if you slow down, chew your food, pay attention to what you're eating, you might actually start finding out that your body actually just gets enough of it long before you get full because you're not mindlessly eating. So
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, it's I try to contain myself because I could go all day on this, but
You know what?
go on.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Um, so I'll be honest, like right now, I haven't even shared this with you. I'm struggling. I'm starting to sweat. I'm struggling with something, and I'm not going to go into detail. Um, a situation came up some years ago and it wasn't taken care of because I could have ended up with paralysis on one side of my face. Now my heart is racing. And I'm using this as an example because since that happened, technology has come a little bit farther. And I really want to go on Google and check into a few things about this because now I'm struggling. I'm struggling in the situation where it's going to have to be taken care of. And so I'm preventing myself right now from going down that rabbit hole of complete fear because who wants half of their face in paralysis? That's fucking scary shit. So I have been secretly holding on to this for a couple of weeks now, and it has been hard. There has been a lot of tears, and I will not let myself go on Google to do any research because it's only going to make it worse. So this is a prime example of, there could be other situations that I could go on and look and be like, look, these are all possibilities. But in this case, I cannot because I already have the fear in me on what's going to happen. So I will completely depend on the professional that I have to go to address the situation and trust their expertise without doing my own research. So be mindful of this type of thing. And this is hard for me to talk about right now just because I have been keeping it pretty much to myself. My family knows. Um, and it took me a long time for them to push me to actually call the professionals that I need to call to take care of it. And I finally did and have an appointment made. And I'm clammy and sweaty right now from talking about it, but I really wanted to use this real live situation right now for anyone out there that's struggling because if you have that high of a fear, don't fucking go to Google. Save yourself and don't go to Google. If it's a minor thing, like Daniel said before, like a new ache in your back or something, go in with an open mind. Just be like, hey, these are possibilities, but chances are it's probably just my body sending me a message that it needs attention of some kind. That's all it is. So, with that said, I am not Googling anything. My blood pressure is really high right now because I'm talking about it and I'm scared out of my mind. But you know what? It's life. And it's going to be whatever it's going to be. And you just have to like kind of step into the place of controlling your mind and your thoughts and trusting the process. And that's what I've been doing. So that's what I got. But you don't want to go to Google for everything because Google's going to set that panic mode. It's going to rewire your brain for fear and anxiety and stress. And if you're already in a nervous place, that's the last thing you need.
No, and
So
I'll say this is that, that's for starters, good on you for understanding and recognizing, having that self-awareness to understand that I'm not going to go down this path, right?
yeah, thank you. Because I have temptations.
Right. And then two, even you sharing that here with all of our listeners, which we've both done on numerous occasions, just share things that are very, very personable and are personal and vulnerable for us. Um, this is what I love about doing this, especially with you, right? Is the fact that we get open and real about our shit. We
Yeah.
do a podcast and we've got several thousand downloads and all the things and and we enjoy it, we love it, we get a lot of feedback from it and it's great, but we're still normal people and still have to deal with shit and go through life and I've heard so many even high level influencers just talk about this, a coaching community that I'm part of, Michael Smoke, Higher Up Wellness, ton of information I've gotten from that guy. but he does the same thing, and I love the idea that we do this as well, is that nobody has it all figured out.
No. Mm-mm.
Nobody does. None of us do. I don't
Nobody.
care. I don't care. I don't care if even if it's your doctor, and he's been he's been a doctor for 40 years. He doesn't have it all figured out either.
Right. And anyone
Okay.
that says that they do, you might want to reconsider who you're
Run
talking to
away.
because yeah, there's an issue. Like really, no, I like Daniel and I, we help people for a living. I mean, Daniel's also a truck driver, but I'm not going to tell everyone I have it all figured out. I'm learning as I go. I have an expertise in the field, as a hypnotist and,
Well, I mean,
intuitive soul coach. Like I have expertise, but I
I'm a
don't have it all figured out.
I'm a really good truck driver. I am. I'm very good at what I do. I've been told that numerous times over the years, but I still learn things. I still don't have it all figured out. Whether it's anything, right? So yeah, again, circling back to the point is going to Google understands that, Google doesn't know you.
Yes. I was
It
going to
can
say that
tell
before.
you generally this is what the general consensus is for these symptoms, but it doesn't know you. So take it with a grain of salt. Hey, this is an idea. This is a potential. Let me go schedule with my doctor who does know me and then work it out from there.
Well, and not only that, the symptoms could vary. I mean, I had something on here. I don't remember where it is. Um, Maybe it's on here. Okay. A study published in JAMA International Medicine found that online symptom checkers are wrong nearly 60 to 80% of the time when predicting a diagnosis. I'm going to interject before I finish reading this because the truth is, it could be diagnosing you based off of someone who has a really poor health history. So if you have something that you're looking up and you're a really healthy person, the diagnosis is going to be probably less impactful than somebody that's over here, if I'm choosing my words right, that's in poor health. That same issue or struggle will affect them completely different.
Yep.
So then it says, even worse, a 2018 study from the British Medical Journal confirmed that using Google for self diagnosis leads to increased, oh, we said this before, health anxiety, unnecessary panic, and even avoidance of actual medical care. That is a good point because how many times, holy shit, you Google something and you're like, oh my God, like I have a headache and it turns into, what if it's a brain aneurysm? And now I'm going to die. Like, I don't want to know. I'm not going to go in. Like, a headache does not mean I lived with a brain tumor most of my life and I didn't have headaches until after I had it removed when my brain was healing. So, if you have a headache or not doesn't mean it, you don't know. Oh yeah, so here it is actually Googling headache. I use that for myself actually. And getting a brain aneurysm as a top result is not only inaccurate, it can actually make you sicker by triggering stress, anxiety, and even psychosomatic symptoms, which is why I don't read the side effects on medications, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
you get what you focus on, right? Where attention goes, energy flows, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely important to tap into your body, learn about who you are, figuring out where your lacks are. And I mean, it took me years to figure out as much as I know about my body. So, yeah, what a good episode.
Yeah, was good.
This was good. I'm still clammy and sweaty for sharing my scary story. I'll get through. My family knows. They're pushing me, making sure that I'm following through. But like who wants to face possible, yeah, either way. we're just going to keep it all positive. So anything else? Make sure you reach out to the proper medical or professional, you know. If you struggle a lot with going down that rabbit hole, Daniel and I are here. Either one of us could help you to retrain your brain and step into a place of healthier balance versus the ladder of going to that negative place that we've both been in before. So, yeah,
Yeah, 1000%.
my eyes are watery and we're good. You deserve peace of mind. So go there. With that said, yeah, trust your gut. Trust your gut. Go for guidance.
Well,
Keep
depends on how
yourself
big your
mentally
gut is.
stable. What was that?
It depends on how big your gut is. But anyway,
You?
come on, that was like, don't trust it if it tells you to eat a bunch of junk. Um,
You always got it twisted that way.
no,
Anyways,
yeah, intuition definitely, pay
yeah,
attention, pay attention to those things, intuition, all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
just circling back really quick is that, and I've done this over the years of so panic about it could be something so serious. I'm not going to go to the doctor because if they tell me, then that makes it real.
Mm.
For starters, that's pretty much horseshit. Um, if there's
Well,
something serious going on, if there's something serious going on in your body, then it's real anyway. Whether you're aware of it or whether you're afraid of it, it's real anyway. So going to the doctor and finding out, what you can do and solution, you know, the idea of becoming more solution focused and less avoidance is way more productive.
yeah, and there's something to be said about peace of mind too. If you're going to sit and worry about it and worry about it, either you need to talk yourself through it and use all the tools and the thoughts and ideas that we've shared in this podcast today, or go to your freaking whatever professional you need to go to have it checked out for peace of mind. Because if you don't have peace of mind and you're sitting and worrying about it all the time, you're going to just keep channeling more and more issues, more and more symptoms, more and more problems. So
Well,
peace of mind counts.
yeah, and that's one of those things that, again, I mean, medical research has come a long way just in the
Mm-hmm.
last 20, 30 years. It's come a long way. And to hit the high points here is, go find out. But also, you'll hear this a lot. I've heard it, especially when I was a truck driver and I started getting, having some of my own issues, my own minor health issues. One of the things that doctors will tell you a lot: change your diet. What are you eating? How much are you moving? Those two things alone can change your life entirely. I'm a testament to
Yes.
that. I've done it. So
Great.
yeah, don't let Google tell you everything to do. Just let it be a potential and some ideas. Then go be productive.
Google how to fix your toaster. Don't Google what's wrong with you.
I don't know. Sometimes don't fix it while it's plugged in though. It's not. Nope.
Oh, with that said, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a great episode. I don't even know how we came about it, but it felt real. I'm like, this definitely needs to be addressed. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. And I have my toe reading party up and ready. So if you are interested, it will be April 13th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. I did add 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time for people in other countries. So if that interests you, just let me know. And through the toe reading party, we'll, talk about why Torah reading is important, what it can do for you, the reflection of your life, because your toes hold the stories of your life and your personality traits from your destiny, communication, relationships, action, trust, and abundance, and all these good things. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the show notes, or you can reach out to me personally and I can answer the questions. So
Yeah.
Daniel
Yeah.
has
Amazing
this
thing.
cool thing.
I think it'd be a great thing for people to sign up for that because that's, it's a fascinating topic. I, again, said this before, but first time I ever heard about it was you. And yeah, I think it is a fascinating topic. It'd
Oh
be
yeah, and
pretty
it's
cool.
it's only $7 because I just want to have fun with it.
Exactly. I mean, which is, 100 times cheaper than probably what it should be, but
Yeah.
especially, getting that many people together and, the connection and the community of all that would just be,
That's what I think.
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the connection in the community, and I'm really just, yeah, I'm excited
yes.
for it. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it. There's quite a few people signed up, so it'll be a good
Awesome.
time.
Yeah. I
So
think it's
you
going to be
should
great.
join in.
I love it. Do it.
Yes.
And yes, still doing my thing is the, kind of a free weight loss and life hypnosis workshop type of thing, where if you're struggling with the inconsistency of weight loss and the overwhelm of all the information that's out there in the space, um, I definitely break it down in 3 simple steps. The first part of it is just the 3 simple steps of weight loss to absolutely kickstart your journey. And then the back end of it is the actual hypnosis to where we tackle one of the core foundations of weight loss, which is the calories in, calories out. The hypnosis will absolutely cut down your portion sizes and how much you eat, which in turn will cut down how much you weigh. So the link will be in the show notes to sign up for that. Again, it is free. You just have to sign up. And it's usually every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's a good way to kickstart your weight loss journey. And there's a few bonuses that go with it. So sign up.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with us. And if you're still here and it's the end, we appreciate you even more. So
And if you're
thank you,
not
thank
still
you, thank
here,
you.
well, you're not still
You
here.
can
So
say anything you
we're
want
not,
because they won't
yeah,
hear you.
exactly. We're not talking to you people. Bunch of damn quitters.
Sometimes
for
the
all
best
for
part's
all
the
of you
end.
that heard that, for all of you that heard that, let us know because I'm curious.
Yeah, like seriously, send us a message and
Yep.
let us know that you heard the end
Tell
because
us
it's
tell
fun
us that
shit.
you're not quitters.
Yeah. See, I'm not a quitter. And if you want, make sure you leave your name and contact information. One of us will reply. Just for fun
Yeah,
purposes.
it
Yeah,
would be.
sounds good. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, we appreciate everything, and we do the YouTube channel. I believe that's in the show notes too, ain't it, for the podcast? Did we still put that in there?
It the link should be in the podcast where all the other ones are.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's
You'll
right.
have to
Yeah, yeah,
check
yeah,
on that.
yeah. We have the link in our podcast show notes, so go look that up and follow and subscribe to our not follow, but subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're always looking to build that as well. And we appreciate everybody
Yes.
for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.